So let's break down what's actually going wrong here. The team is using a single general agent, and every request, no matter what kind it is, gets handed to that same agent to figure out. When a password reset request comes in, the agent runs through it on its own judgment, and most of the time it looks fine. It confirms identity, it sends the OTP, but then every so often it skips the OTP verification step entirely and just resets the password anyway. Now compare that to the integration request. The agent explores freely here, checking logs, checking keys, checking status pages, checking config in whatever order seems to make sense at the time. And for this kind of request, that flexibility is actually a good thing. So here's the real issue. The exact same freedom that makes the agent good at diagnosing a messy integration problem is what lets it skip a mandatory verification step on the other kind of request. It's not that the agent is broken, it's that it's being applied the same way to two problems that don't behave the same way at all. And that gets us to the answer. Don't use one agent for both. Split by task type. The fix starts with routing the request first, so that each type of task gets the architecture it actually needs, instead of one agent improvising its way through both. For password resets, you move to a fixed workflow. The 4 steps get hard-coded in order, and OTP verification becomes a mandatory gate in the code itself, which means the model no longer has the option to skip it. For the integration issue, you keep the agent's tools and its judgment exactly as they are, because the diagnosis genuinely depends on what it finds as it goes, and that's not something you'd want to force into a rigid checklist. So in practice, here's what that looks like. You introduce a router or a classifier sitting in front of everything. Its only job is to read the incoming ticket and decide which path it belongs on. If it's a password reset, it goes down the fixed workflow path. This is a hard-coded 4-step pipeline where the code decides what runs next and not the model. Verification isn't a suggestion here, it's a required gate. If it's an integration issue, it goes down the autonomous agent path. The agent keeps its tools, checking logs, keys, status pages, and config, and it keeps its judgment to decide what to check next, based on what it actually finds. One router, 2 very different paths. And that's the whole fix, giving each kind of task the structure it actually needs, instead of asking one agent to be both a checklist and a detective at the same time. Now, before we move to the next scenario, I'm going to flash a question on screen along with 4 possible answers. Go ahead and pause the video here and take a moment to work through it yourself, because this is exactly the kind of thinking that helps along your certification journey. Enjoy the quiz, and I'll see you in the next one. If this kind of scenario-based thinking is helping you, I want you to know there's a lot more where this came from. My Udemy course has more than 100 practice exam questions and answers, covering real-world agent architecture scenarios, and working through them is a great way to build the kind of thinking that helps you crack certifications like the Claude Certified Architect Foundational and other AI architecture certifications as well. I'll drop the link in the description below if you'd like to check it out.